What's up, guys? This is Stephen Fogamomi, and this is the C Remix EP Collaborators. I was born in Sacramento, California. Shout out to all my Californians. I loved it there. It was super cool. I was there half my life. I think around the age of 10 or 11, we moved to Orem, Utah. And shout out to all my Utah homies too. Honestly, I call both home, but I think Orem a little bit more. If you don't know where that is, that's kind of by Salt Lake. It's 20-30 minutes from Salt Lake City. The eclectic styles of music that I like really show in my music and the way I write and the things that I love to listen to. One, for example, is when I was living in California. I vividly remember the really luscious and really dancey and just soul-hitting beats from hip-hop, rap, and R&B, and I accredit those three to being my absolute favorite genres, and they're kind of my muses. And when I moved here, I was super just blown away and shocked to see a totally different world. At first, I'll be honest, I didn't. Yeah. I'm not sure if I liked it, but to be honest, with the help of my mom, she's super cool. She really loves the Beatles and just that 60s, 70s, and older music like that. She really opened my eyes to playing the guitar and looking into and just keeping my ear open and being more open to rock, folk, and more indie, especially in Utah, right? The indie scene's pretty big. Shout out to Neon Trees, The Killers. They all have their roots here in Utah. And it really opened my eyes to just really loving folk, again, indie rock, and rock in general. I remember when I was a teenager in high school, someone invited me to the Velour. The Velour is, I think, probably the most prestigious venue, and mostly for rock music and indie music in Provo, Utah. And they're pretty influential, just helping a lot of bands get their start, right? Yeah, I went there when I was about 16 years old, and I'll be honest, this kid coming from kind of the ghettos of California, super into rap and hip hop and all that, right? I walked into that place and it was just super different. And I remember the first couple people I listened to and just saw perform there. I don't know if they'll ever see this, I hope they do, but Matt Orr, shout out to you, man. He went up there and he played the guitar and he sang. And I will never forget that experience. It was awesome. It was eye-opening and it really cut to the soul. I remember his soulful lyrics, the well thought, really ambient, just spacey and also really introspective vibe that was just performed and just executed perfectly. And at the same time, the beautiful guitar and slow, clean and really reverby guitar. I remember that really just hit me, and I went home thinking I want to do that.
So there's some definitely some culture shock, right, when you came from Sacramento, California, and really any part of California where the music scene is so rich in any of those areas.
Yeah, that's a good question. I got into the guitar first, to be honest, my mom, again, she really loved rock music growing up, and I remember her always telling me about the Beatles and bands like Kansas and other bands like that. I wasn't too into it at first, I'll be honest. I thought it was interesting music, it just wasn't my vibe at the time when I was younger. But as I came to appreciate and love the songwriting styles and the way they approach playing the guitar and bringing the instruments in, as opposed to having a beat or having something really electronic in the background, I really love the vibe that they put off with their music. I think some of my favorite bands were Jet, that song, Are You Gonna Be My Girl? I love that song. Yes, so I really like the organic feel that guitars bring and drums, real drums. Thank you. I especially love real drums. I really like violin and cello, even though I don't know how to play those. I think the perfect example is the Lumineers. I love how earthy and organic it is, and it sounds somewhat like they're recording it right, with it just being more ambient and you're right there in front of them, and it's not too overly produced and all that, and I love that. kind of like Jason Mraz, just like really more relaxed and easy. Ed Sheeran, that's another one.
Okay.
Just really like romantic-y, just you and the guitar.
Yeah.
Like me and the guitar, right? And so, yeah.
Minimalistic, but not underwhelming.
Yes.
And raw, but not unprofessional.
Yeah. Yep. So, I really love hip hop and rap. A lot of people put those together, so I'll just say those two. Those are, I think, my top number one. And then my next favorites would probably be R&B, and I think my third would be like indie rock. Those are my top three. I love those three. Obviously, I love a lot of other stuff, but I'm just gonna keep it with those three because those are really the most influenced, like the way I write, the way I sing, and just a lot of stuff like that. I really love R&B because it has a lot of like soul into it, and a lot of people like differentiate those as well. But like the soul aspect of it, and just like how it's really from like within, like you always hear of when you think of R&B, you always think of like like really smooth, like maybe a little bit even suggestive, and sometimes really like dancey and stuff like that. And then I really think that when I write, it comes from the indie rock / indie side of like my background. Like just growing up in Utah, and especially around the Utah music scene, where indie rock and folk are like really big.
Yeah.
I really love how the lyrics are always like really emotionally based as well. So just with that, I try to combine R&B and like I think folk when I write. I think I really pull from like hip hop a lot, as funny as that sounds, and I pull from indie rock. So some of my favorite bands ever are, so I think my top indie rock band is Two Door Cinema Club. Shout out to my boys. They write their guitar licks, how like fast their BPMs are when they record their music, and how fast and upbeat their stuff is. And I love just like the sweet like sounds that they can make with their electric guitars. So I really try to like implement that when I play. Hip hop, I feel like because hip hop and rap have a lot of like background in like jazz, so even kind of like I guess Tom Morello, kind of like that, where he's like,
he's
like I love that. So yeah, all of that combined, like that's how I think
unique.
that's where I get my guitar playing from. So let's see, I think with Outkast, I love their beats, like the way that they produce, and I think Country 3000 was the one that mostly worked on the production. I love, for example, on Hey Ya, like that mix of like the really funky, like just bouncy beat with the guitar. And if you really listen, there's like an acoustic guitar the entire time. Those vocals and the harmonies are just like on point. That song is just like perfect, and like it gets stuck in your head in a good way. Another old school influence is TLC. TLC, just they're really so like vibe, like I can obviously keep going, but I love like the vibes. And I think one of my favorite all-time songs, and especially R&B songs, is Creep from Crazy Sexy Cool. I think that's the name of the album. I literally love that, like the horn, like the guitar, the beat, the chill vocals, and then even the rap parts. I just obviously like love that. You do need per se like a really amazing voice. I don't want to call anybody out, but I can think of so many artists that I absolutely love, that their voices aren't just like, they're not like a powerhouse, right? They're not like just like the loudest or the most what's the word I'm looking for, the most versed, like well versed with going really high and really low and just like riffing like amazingly, and especially in R&B, right? Like just riffing and like really well. It's not about how high you can go, it's not about how many notes you can sing. It's really about like what's like in here, I think. Like, I know it sounds cheesy, but I think if you can see from here as opposed to up here, then that's like a lot better, especially in R&B. There's so many people that do that outside and inside of R&B that are really successful, and they know how to use their heart and their voice at the same time. Yeah, so if I could see any band live, first on the list would be Daft Punk. Shout out to my boys. I literally love Daft Punk so much. Like, they have always been one of my like biggest influences. The way I write and the way it just like I just try to think about how music should be and where it should go. I love their just vocoder sound, the vocals, and I love the beats and how infectious they are. And then obviously like their really sweet guitar solos, because right, I play guitar, and I love how it's really hard to figure out how they play their guitar parts or how they write or how they wrote them, because like obviously some of that's still a mystery. Shout out to my people on Reddit trying to figure it out still. I love Daft Punk so much. So thank you, Daft Punk, if you watch this. You guys are the best. Besides them, though, I really want to see Two Door Cinema Club. So yep, shout out to my boys again, because I literally love the energy they bring, and just like I tell people I love them. I think because like if I could describe their music in one sentence, it's like happy, dancey rock music for like a party, dancing, having a good time with like music. And nowadays you don't think of like rock music when you think of like partying, I feel like. So I really love how they can bring that to the table. I think I was 18 years old and I wrote it for my girlfriend at the time, and it was just a byproduct of my love for like music and obviously her, and at the same time my like dreams and goals and aspirations to be like a really influential and successful artist, right? You can hear it in like the vibe. And one thing I really love about The Sea is it reminds me and just like it makes me think of when I listen to it, like you're on a date with the person you love and it's at the beach and it's all day and it seems like it's never gonna end and you hope it never does. And so that's what I think The Sea is about, really. John Mayer, he really like his guitar playing is really influential and has really influenced me. You can hear it in the chill vibe of the guitar on The Sea. And I mix a lot of jazz with, I don't know if you can hear it, the blues, and also just like that like bossa nova like sound in the guitar. And I was really proud of that. I really attribute that to like the feelings and the raw emotions I had at that age, and at the same time to the people who like helped me shape the way I write and play. Sam Cooke with Wonderful World. Yeah. And yeah, like I love that music. I love that music, and I was born by the river.
He has a crazy story,
so
man.
like, yeah, I love his music and I love his story.
Okay, so you talk about the beach and going to the beach and being at the beach all day, but to me it seems like this song isn't really a summer song. It's a sunny song, but it's not really a summer song as much as it is an escape song.
Oh, I like that.
Right.
I love that. Yeah.
And hoping it never ends, right?
I love that.
Like forgetting your troubles.
Yeah.
Forgetting that you have to go to work the next day.
Yep.
Right? Forgetting that you have bills to pay.
Yeah.
It's about escaping into just that moment, and that's something that I think everybody needs is an escape from our phones and just to not think about what messages we have.
Yo, my favorite color is blue. I freaking love blue. That's always been my favorite color.
And a Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah. Yep. I think the reason why I love blue is because it's the color of the sky and it's the color of the sea, the ocean, water. I think it's pretty cool. I think my favorite food, like dish, it's probably a cheeseburger. If anyone anyone that knows me, like I love cheeseburgers. That's my favorite. I'm a straight up American boy. I freaking love a good like cheeseburger with like bacon and like barbecue sauce, a little bit of hot sauce, and like grilled onions and cheese and everything else you can think of. I love what works. I love In-N-Out. I love
Five Guys.
Yeah, Five Guys. If you guys want to sponsor me, that'd be cool. My favorite place I ever traveled to was probably Samoa. I lived there for a couple of years, and I'm actually half Samoan, so I'm Samoan descent. My dad is from Upolu. If you know where that's just one of the islands. And he's also from Kukuila, another island. Fun fact, I actually am fluent in Samoan. My favorite drink is Coke, and when I'm feeling extra bougie, my favorite is Coke, cherry Coke, or Coke with like a raspberry like shot. I love that so much.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Rats. I wrote that down. I didn't even think about it.
I was like, rats? I never heard of that.
Let's see. My favorite movie. I have a lot, but I think off the top of my head, first thing I can think of is Surf's Up. That's kind of like a kid's movie, but I love that movie. Shia LaBeouf makes you laugh the whole time, and then Chicken Joe's pretty funny.
Chicken Joe.
And then Tank, his character, is freaking funny too. Like that whole movie is just hilarious. I love it.